Well, we just talked to Directors Eric Mati and Carlito Sigion Reina. And they're saying, I think you probably listened to them, the FDCP is being accused of overreach on two areas. One is the health protocols that they say is bordering on encroaching on freedom of expression, and the other is encroaching on or overreaching on your mandate, which is only mainstream film. And they're saying you are trying to regulate live events, theater, advertising, and online production. What can you say about this, Yusek?
Just to give context to the joint administrative order, the DOH released Administrative Order 2020 0015 mandating various national government agencies to create sector-based protocols that would address specifically the health and safety protocols that needed to be adapted in the different industries. And because yun nga, the film industry is always left behind in this whole scope of what is supposed to be supported by the different government agencies. Ang tagal ng, for the longest time, it's been self-regulated, diba? So, FDCP hosted a town hall meeting with our stakeholders to introduce to them the policy initiative of the FDCP to work with DOH and different agencies like DOLE to come up with these guidelines. So we had 17 consultation meetings with various stakeholders, various sectors, different workers, different organizations, so that we can come up with this comprehensive guidelines that would, address the health and safety protocols within this COVID pandemic. And that's what we did. We recognize that FDCP has limitations in its mandate. That's why we work with agencies through joint administrative orders para yung coverage nila at yung mandato nila masuportahan yung industriya namin. Kasi ang hirap naman, we can't just stand and realize na walang mabibigay na suporta, walang maibibigay na protocols para mag-reopen kami just because hindi kami covered or hindi kami saklaw ng mga kino-cover na industries ng DOLE. And DOLE admits to the fact that yun nga, the film industry has because of its unique setup and the peculiarity surrounding the working conditions of our workers, talagang hindi talaga siya nako-cover ng traditional na mga occupational safety and health standards na kino-cover nila. So, we're here to support.
Yusek, we'll go straight to the point, no?
Yeah.
They're really protesting your requirement for them to submit a report 7 days before a shoot, which they used to do only once a year. So they're now afraid that, they feel that it harks back to martial law days, and that if they allow you to do it now, you will encroach further into their freedom and require them to actually submit the script or the content. Anong masasabi, Jeron?
Actually, ito pong requirement ay hindi po requirement ng FDCP. Requirement po siya ng DOLE. Dahil ang DOLE po, for occupational safety and health, kailangan po nang mag-register ng mga productions para malaman yung location ng productions, para malaman kung saan sila nag-shoot. They have to actually submit to the DOLE regional offices every single time that they do a production. That's the reason kung bakit whether there is non-compliance to that, labas na po tayo doon. Pero that is mandated. That's also the reason why para po makapag-investigate maayos ang... And then the DOH also requires for contact tracing a list of the workers. So what FDCP did with our JAW is to consolidate these requirements to give to our workers in one form. So ang goal actually namin is to cut through the bureaucracy of having to submit to both. We talk to them and we ask them if we can just centralize the submission.
Yeah,
Yusek,
consolidate everything.
How do you assuage their fear, in fact, their suspicion that this is just the start? And I think that they were counting on you to understand their situation, that this is just too much work that is beyond just the ambit of health protocols.
Every single industry right now is actually is requiring registration for contact tracing. Uh, if you go to a restaurant, you have to sign a declaration form. Every single restaurant, it's actually a government mandate right now to make sure that because it is a health and safety issue, kailangan nating mag-contribute as citizens to help in the contact tracing of the government. In the event of an outbreak, in the event na merong nangyari, at least alam natin agad yung location. We can talk to the LGUs agad so that they can disinfect the place. We can identify who is exposed
Yeah,
to the COVID virus. So
mm, mm. Yeah,
hindi,
ma'am.
kasi parang, yeah,
No, no, if you don't mind,
it's really more of a health and
yeah,
safety issue.
yeah, I know, and I think to be fair to Direct Carlitos and Eric, they never said. In fact, they said very explicitly, we understand. We're all in the same boat. We understand the public health concerns here. Going back to what Lucci was asking, I think their question was, they feel that you mentioned 17 consultations, you mentioned the town hall, but at the end of the day, quite frankly, the bottom line for their story is our interests were not represented. In fact, they're saying that their interests were misrepresented.
In what way? In what way?
Well,
I need to know
well,
that. Kasi
if,
everything that was in the JAO was a product of all our consultations. If you compare the IGA protocols with
mm,
what is written in the JAO, um, the only thing that's different there is the 50 that the DOH recommend, the DOH uh, requires versus the 70 that they want. But right now,
mm,
hindi natin pwedeng labanan itong erring on the side of caution ng DOH. So we have to respect that. So aside from that, everything that nasa JAO, if you even compare it, uh, the contents are the same. It's we're incorporated a lot of what they suggested. We even included them in the footnote. There are departmental roles annexes that we feel gives value to the specific department roles of the different members of the sector. So sinama namin yung sa post-production, sinama namin yung sa sound. So I don't really know where this is coming from na hindi kami nakikinig.
So you're saying you consulted directors and movie producers because this is the Directors Guild of the Philippines. You talked to the
Yes.
Directors Guild of the Philippines.
Yes, and even right before the release of the JAO itself,
mm,
they had a meeting with the DOH. We arranged a meeting with the DOH, with the entire IGA, the Interguild Alliance. It is a community of the different guilds. They had a meeting, a 3-hour meeting with the DOH, 2 hours or 3 hours meeting with the DOH, one by one addressing their concerns. And the DOH was
mm.
able to explain to them the need why such provisions need to be implemented and included in the JAO.
After having heard them, is your door still open to
Mm.
further dialogue, especially because they really feel that you are overreaching your role as film development and getting into a regulatory role? Would you like to assure them that
Of course, we've always been open to different to the needs of the sectors. I'm having offline conversations with various directors, with various filmmakers to ask FDCP about clarifications about this. Actually, maglalabas nga kami ng FAQs bukas para lang ma-address yung mga questions nila kasi medyo lumayo na talaga yung topic, naging issue na siya ng martial law. Parang, but in the first place, we were just asked to create monitoring tools. So parang ginawa namin yung 7 days just so we have enough time to submit to LGU when these production forms are submitted to us. So it's really more to streamline this coordination among the different government agencies who will be in charge of monitoring implementation. Actually, implementation and inspection is going to be done by LGU. The penalties and whatever sanctions for violations will be under DOLE and DOH. FDCP put context to what the situation, what the industry is experiencing as a film industry, and that's actually how we come in, and that's normal for a lot of government agencies. CHED is working right now with DOH also for safety and protocols for the schools. PSC, the Philippine Sports Commission, is also working with the DOH for health and safety protocols in the sports sector, especially when it comes to sport events. So it's really with other film commissions all over the world, health and safety protocols within their industries and directly addressing their stakeholders it's a normal thing. Marami na pong lumabas na mga global practices on released by various film commissions on the health and safety protocols.